Yo, I think Borderlands 2 is probably one of the biggest peaks we've hit in gaming. I think it's peak replayability in my opinion. Now don't get me wrong, games that have RNG and stuff kind of have an advantage, but it's just the amount of shit. Like, a big part of this game is farming, just making your character way stronger off of it. But yeah, remember, first off, they had a great idea with the concept of it. It's basically, Borderlands is just an RPG first-person game. That's literally all it is. There's not many first-person shooters that's RPGs, and this is basically the first one. Bruh. What's good, y'all? It's True Kingston, and I'm gonna talk about I'm just gonna talk about, not even the series, I'm only gonna talk about two. I want to start with the base game and talk about what makes Borderlands so good. Number one, I'm talking about replayability. Bruh. Let's talk about the base game first when it comes to replayability. You have, of course, your story. The story isn't super long. The story, you could probably finish it in about 10 hours, maybe, if you're doing only story missions, but you're gonna have, if you just try to rush through the story, you're gonna start running into issues, just due to the fact that you're gonna be under-leveled, and you're probably gonna have bad gear, since you're not doing side missions to get more gear and get new bosses to unlock so you can farm and shit like that. So it's weird. You can like decide to just try to run through the game with mid to bad gear, or go out of your way to get good gear. So there's already a few ways you can like run through the game. You can try to speed run it, but some of the bosses are gonna hold your ass up, but you have to defeat them. Like, once you get to the area, like the game near the end, it starts getting rough. I'm not gonna lie. Most missions you can speed through to a degree. The bunker's gonna start giving, once you get to the bunker, you're gonna start having issues. That's usually like, as somebody beat this game like 20, 30 times damn near, the bunker's gonna start giving your ass a hassle, I'm not gonna lie. But even other than that, the game itself just has so much going on. Like, if you don't want to do that, once you're done with the game, if you don't want to play through it again, because you got 6 skills you can play it through, you got these skill trees. The game gave you 50 levels at launch, so you have to figure out how you're gonna make your build without, like, that's when you find out you can't finish your whole skill tree. You're not gonna get enough points to finish your skill tree, so there's that going along. But even besides that, you have class mods that can give you bonus points to overcap your skills. Then you can start going for there's so many different types of shields with weird ass effects. You get shields that fuck you over, like Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. You can get a shield that gives you money. It's just the money amount is shit, but there's that. Then you have shields that absorb bullets. Like, there's so many different types of shields that make explosions around you once they freaking die. Shields that have no shield, but we'll get to that. It sounds stupid, but it's Borderlands. Which is another thing. Borderlands has a lot of comedic stuff, and there's so many side missions. There's a lot of serious ones, and then there's dumb ones. So you can legit pick and choose what you want to fucking do. You're gonna get some laughs, but since there's a lot of comedy, there's a lot of jokes you're probably missing out on if you're not doing a lot of the side missions. Which, I kind of stick to the same side missions just because I did a lot of them, but I didn't do a lot of DLC stuff. But even besides that, when it comes to raw gameplay, the gameplay feels good, gunplay is smooth. There's so many unique guns, even amongst the general pool of weapons. When it comes to the legendaries, they just start getting a little wild. And like I said, since it's RNG, you never know what you're gonna get. You could go killing a random enemy, and every once in a while, you might just get lucky and it'll drop a fucking blue rarity weapon, maybe a purple. I know you just got a big ass upgrade to your kit. As long as it wasn't dog shit. Let's just hope it's not E-Tech. But that's besides the point right now. There's so many weird side missions. Like, you can go from a guy you meet that just wants to be shot in the face, and if you don't shoot him in the face, the mission won't complete. You can shoot him in other places, he'll get mad at you until you shoot him in the fucking face. And then all he says, once you shoot him in the face, all he says is thank you, and that's the end of the mission, literally. And you can complete in 1 second, and it's fucking hilarious. But it's just so random, shit like that. Like, there's RNG, but then there's just randomness. Sounds like the same thing, but no. Borderlands randomness with its damn comedy and the way they handle shit. Then there's so many unique enemy types too. Like, when they show you an enemy, there's usually a decent amount of variance. Skags, basically just basically they're just mutated dogs. Nothing crazy. But there's so many variants of them. Like, they can be badass, there's elemental ones. There's rabid ones that are extremely aggressive and way faster than all the other ones, which are a pain in the fucking ass. I hate rabid enemies. There's stalkers that can turn invisible. Then there's different types of like stalkers that can break dance towards you and smack your ass away. There's giant badass ones. My lord, there's so much shit going on in this game. There's the rats, which are enemies that can steal your loot. You could be fighting a bunch of enemies, drop a legendary, and if there's a rat around, a rat can legit pick up the legendary and then run away with it. And if you let them bury it, that shit's gone for good. Which, it is toxic as fuck. But I'm so glad we have an enemy like that, bro. I think it's so cool. You keep you on your toes in the middle of a fight. Usually, you're used to, at least I am, I don't really pick shit up. Unless I'm on a really low difficulty with a high level character, I usually don't pick shit up mid-fight. I'll wait until the fight's over. The only thing I'm picking up is a booster if I'm using a shield booster. Booster shield, I should say. But, you gotta pick shit up if you know you're in an area with the rats around. Like, if you're in the fridge and a legendary drop, you better go get that shit. But luckily, usually with I notice usually where the rats are at, there's not many, like, enemies or fucking bosses or anything that drops legendary. So usually you'll be good. But they might drop some other shit you need, especially if you're trying to just level up your kit and you see a blue or purple drop from one of them. Just go ahead and pick that shit up. But the enemy types are cool. And then let's get into the DLC. Let's get into like let's go into the DLC and the updates over the years. This game was supported for like 5 to 7 years. So they added so much shit. This game got a HD texture pack update later. Then they got an Ultra HD Ultimate Vault Hunter pack, something? I don't know, they added more playthroughs, but the game launched with normal mode and true Vault Hunter mode. I think they added Ultimate later, and then they added, if I remember correctly, I think Ultimate was that later, then they added the OP levels, which we won't talk about those. Those OP levels are crazy. So, the DLCs, there's 4. I think it's Captain Scarlet Pirate's booty, which she do got a booty. They got Captain Scarlet's Pirate Booty, Sir Hammerlock's Big Game Hunt, Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon Keep, and Mr. Torg's Campaign of Carnage. You can feel how you feel about any of those. And then there's actually Commander lives in the Fight for Sanctuary. That one's a little bit of an oddball, because the game initially had the idea of launching with 4. Then they made the last one later. And I don't know if it still is, but I know it launched for free. Because it was for, what's that shit? It was made to connect. It was literally a whole DLC they gave us with a new weapon rarity and stuff, made as DLC to connect to Borderlands 3. That was literally the purpose of it, and I actually fuck with that, I'm not gonna lie. But other than that DLC, I would say all the DLCs gave you a lot of shit. Like, a lot of the DLCs came with a few levels, so you could get your level cap. Like, in this game's lifespan, the level cap went from 50 to 80, if I remember correctly. Yeah, it went from 50 and 80 is the last level now. So you're getting the extra 30 levels, which means you get 30 extra skill points. So it completely changed your builds now. Now that you can get further in other trees. Like, you could basically just say, fuck it, I can max out 2 trees and then get into the 3rd one a bit. And then you get the bonuses and all that. Change with class models better, like the meta kept changing. There was weapons buffs and nerfs. Evil Smasher got nerfed and became dog shit. The goddamn what was it? There was Speed Smasher got nerfed. The B shield became really bad. Not bad. It's still a good weapon. It's still a good shield. It's just nowhere near where it was before. Like, I still use it to this day to get certain bosses. But there was so many changes. The amount of farming you can do in this game is crazy as hell. Like, you can farm so many of the bosses, and sometimes the bosses farming is so easy, like you can just dip it. Like, the drop rate might be low for something, but the fact that once you get to an area, if the boss spawns close to it, you can just travel to it, and that's it. And literally you're just there already, because the area just has a spawn close to it. Not all bosses like this. Like, if you want to farm Captain Flint, you're gonna have a hard time, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's gonna take a while to farm Captain Flint, but you have to go all the way through that area. And he has a cool weapon. You might not appreciate it, but it's a cool weapon. You get the Thunderball Fist for him. But even outside of just that, the types of weapons you get are crazy. Especially the legendaries and higher ranks. Like, when it comes to the weapons, You could get a fucking rocket launch that reloads and jumps like a rabbit. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it exists. There's so many fucking weird guns. The Rack-a-Rang or whatever, Gunnerang, that throws like a boomerang basically. You like curve and throws it. There's already a whole company who's based on throwing your gun as your reload. Instead of reloading, you throw the gun and it explodes. The more ammo in the clip, the more damage it does. That's literally the whole company's gimmick. Which is crazy as shit. Torg's whole fucking gimmick is everything they make is explosive. They don't make anything that doesn't explode. Like, there's a bunch of wild ass weapons in this game. But even outside of those sort of weapons, you do have the standard ones, and then you got what I would call like the extremely wild weapons. It's like, why does this happen? Like, a good example, if you see gameplay of it, there's a weapon called the Madhouse. I don't have it on these accounts. I only had it on my Xbox account back when I was on 360. But the Madhouse was such a crazy weapon. What the Madhouse does, it fires bullets that wobble, and then they wobble and like curve and act weird. And then once they hit something, they explode into 2 bullets. Yeah, and then they like wobble more. So and they like linger around for a while. So and it's a machine gun. So as you're firing it, and they're just filling up the screen, it just be fucking bullets bouncing all over the place. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them will be missing. Some of the weapons ain't about their usefulness, it's about their uniqueness. And that's one of those weapons. There's a rocket that like shoots and then it hits the floor. Instead of making contact and exploding, it bounces up. Like it's a freaking nuke or a missile just flying up out the ground. And then it blows up. And it has a huge blast rate that'll probably kill your ass more than it'll kill enemies. And I love every second of this dumb shit Borderlands does. So many unique weapons, bruh. But farming is a big part of this game. Like, once you're done, farming is actually relatively fun in this game. Because literally, you'll go in and fight the enemy. And now, raid bosses aren't that fun to farm, I'm not gonna lie. Some of them aren't. There's raid bosses, that's an extra thing too. And then, don't forget, this game is co-op. That's even another thing. This is all mostly talk about the single player experience. As you see, I'm playing with somebody in this video, or on this stream, I should say. But this game has there's so much content like locked away for you. If you get into this, if you like this idea, if you like a first person, if you want a first person RPG, this is kind of like the granddaddy of it to a degree. This is definitely like, from what I remember, this is the best one. I can't think of another one that competes. I can't even really think of another first person RPG right now, honestly. So if you want something that's like first person RPG, I would definitely say go to this. I would say if you want to play it and enjoy it the most, the first game is kind of dated. They definitely updated graphics and stuff. That's not the issue. It's just the first game is gonna feel kind of hollow when you play the rest of them, but they were still getting their footing. They were making kind of a undone. It was something that didn't really exist like that at the time. I don't think it did exist really. So they definitely they kind of laid off on certain things. It seemed like they kind of like played it safe with some stuff. But the game was relatively basic. The skill trees weren't too crazy, nothing like that. I would definitely say start with Borderlands 2, unless you want to see the story in order. The story order, if I remember correctly, Borderlands the pre-sequel, Borderlands 2, 3, and then if you care, you could play the Telltale games, which is like Tales from the Borderlands. I don't like those, but if you like story-based games, once you get into the lore more, I don't know if you could buy Tales from the Borderlands anymore. Separately. I know you can buy it with the Heaven Collection, but I don't know. Plus Telltale went out of business. I don't know how all that stuff went. I don't know if their games are available. But that's all you're gonna hear from me for now. This video is long enough, so I'm gonna stop it right here. Thanks anybody for watching this relatively long ass video for me. I don't think I made a video this long since the Goodbye Ultra Rumble video. But if y'all want to see me play this, I'm gonna be streaming on Twitch. That's usually at True Kingsden. But I'm streaming the pre-sequel and this, and I'm streaming other games as well. But like I said, I've been going back in time to play games because, man, there ain't nothing new that got my attention, and I'm having more. I don't even like the pre-sequel that much, and I'm enjoying it way more than anything else going on right now. I'm starting to appreciate that game a lot more. But we out this bitch. True Kingsden. Take it easy.